How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today we're going to be starting work on the 54 F100. But before we start, I just wanted to say I appreciate all the new subscribers and all the old subscribers. I appreciate you guys watching. We're kicking butt. We're getting there. And I just wanted to, stop and say I appreciate you guys before we get started. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump straight to working on this truck. So, as you guys can tell, I have actually pulled the bed off, and I pulled some parts off that we could get straight over to paint. So we've got the wishbone off the rear, and we've got some little parts off the front, like the sway bar and things like that. We're getting ready to tear the motor out and everything else. So before I get too far along, though, I wanted to take measurements and kind of figure out what we were going to do with this truck. So, originally we're going to have to raise the bed up a few inches to clearance for the new fuel cell and clearance for the rear end. So it can have height right up here. We are going to end up lowering this rear end an inch. So there's going to be some modifications on the rear end that we're going to do. We'll catch that in one of the videos. What I'm going to start off with today, though, is removing this rear bar. We need to make room for this fuel cell. So that is going to be what we're going to start with. But I wanted to run through a few things that I have found on this truck as I started working on it. Right away, one big issue I found is that, if you can see there, the motor is hitting the firewall. But we are not all the way up on our body mount yet. That side is completely fine and clears. This side doesn't. So that creates a big problem. How do we fix it? Do we modify the firewall? Do we figure out how to move the engine forward? All that good stuff. I've kind of came up with a solution. I need to talk with the customers and see what they think. I do not want to mess with the firewall. This truck is a small enough truck as it is. There's not a lot of foot room. So by modifying this firewall is right around the gas pedal area. So we don't want to do that. Our best bet is to move the motor forward. I crawled up underneath here, and as you can see, there is an extra bolt hole there for the transmission mount. We're looking right there. So we have 1.5 inches forward that we can move the transmission mount, which is great. That is about what we need, is 1.5 inches. But the problem is that our motor mount is a solid style motor mount. It does have rubber bushings, but there is no play and adjustment in it. So I think ultimately what I'm going to have to do is redesign these motor mounts. I would like to keep the Heim joint style motor mount itself so we can adjust it up and down as we need, but we need to get it this way. So that is one big thing that we got to hurdle through. It's not a big deal. We'll get it figured out. But before we send all this stuff off the paint, we want to make sure everything's going to bolt together nicely. The last thing we want to do is have this thing painted and then have to get back in there, cut, grind, weld, modify, things like that. So let's get them done before we go to paint. So that is pretty much it there. There's old Barky. So now we got our camera guy back. We can get started and she get hopefully get some cool footage of us cutting. All right, so we're gonna start out by chopping this back bar out. I'm just gonna start with the Sawzall, get this pipe out of here. I'm gonna try to cut as close as I can to these frame rails without damaging them. Get this bar out of the way, and then I'll take my grinder with the flappy disc and clean that all up and make it look super smooth. And then we'll get ready to figure out where we're gonna mount our fuel cell and the new support bar we're gonna put in there. one yellow bar removed. So now that we've got that removed, we can figure out where we're gonna place our fuel cell. So I've kind of came up with the game plan. What I want to do is have about this much of the fuel cell come up underneath this bar. So what that's gonna do is that'll sandwich the fuel cell to the top of the bar here, and then we'll be able to use these braces on the fuel cell there. And all I'll have to do is just bring the little legs down to gum to those braces, and then some bottom straps for the fuel cell, and that'll hold that end up. So that'll be a very simple, secure way to mount the front. My only problem is I really can't design the rear yet. So it's kind of funny. It's a husband and wife build. It's for the wife. She's building it how she wants. The husband has a lot of knowledge in cars and things like that, and he kind of has his own ideas as well. And so one of them is telling me, the husband, bumpers. We're gonna put chrome bumpers on. Wife is sending me pictures of another Condiggit truck that has been built, and it has a roll pan in the rear on the bottom of the bed down here. And she doesn't want bumpers. She wants the deleted bumper roll pan. So I need to figure that out first, because the fuel cell is a little big. So the way I need to build my brace is either got to come like at a 45 out and in, so we can save the holes for the bumper brackets. If we're not going to be running bumpers and having a tail pan on there, then I can redesign the bar just to come straight across, and we can just cap these off a little bit and have the bar coming straight across. So I'm going to hold off just for a few until I get the answer from the customers on what the ultimate game plan is. I got a hold of the customers, we came down, we figured out exactly what we want to do with the truck. So now I am going to start getting blasting on the fuel cell. So we decided we are not going to go with rear bumpers. We are going to do a tail pan on the back of the bed right here. Yep, right down there. We're going to do a tail pan. Tail lights and all that stuff are going to be in the tail pan. So we don't have to worry about where we're mounting our fuel cell, because the fuel cell was just a little bit bigger than the space we had inside here. So it kind of protruded where the bumper was gonna mount to. So now that we know we're not doing that, we can kind of design what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna keep it pretty basic. I've got the backside up against that bar there. I'm gonna use this round stock that I have and another piece of flat strap iron. And I'm just gonna build a rod that comes from down there to these tabs. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld them to the flat stock and then bolt the flat stock to this, so the whole mount itself is removable from the frame. That way we keep it just a little bit nicer, removable. And then on the front side here, I'm gonna make this bar removable. So I'm gonna weld two little straps to each end of the bar here, and it'll go up just like that, and it'll bolt to that hole that you see right underneath it right there. So both sides will bolt to that hole, and then same thing, we're gonna just have that round stock that comes down to the tab here with a nut underneath. Then from there, we will have our aluminum strap, and that I will just make some straps to go underneath the tank here, just like that. So then what I don't wanna do is support the tank just from these tabs coming off these rods, because these tabs will rip out. So I always build a little strap that goes underneath here that supports the bottom of the tank as we bolt it up in there too, just to give it some more support. So it is gonna be pretty simple and easy. Probably have an hour or two worth of work to get this all mocked up and finished where we want it. So I'm gonna just throw you on time lapse. You might get a little bit of bead roll, all that good stuff. Let's get rocking. All right, so we are pretty much just about wrapped up with all the fab stuff. So I've got the bolts tapped into the beam up here to the threads into there. This right here will get up in here, bolt to that just like that. Hold the fuel cell. The front right there is going to slide up in there and hold the tank in, and then we've already got our straps made for the bottom. So that'll go up underneath there. I will take some like weather stripping foam and put in between these for final assembly when we sandwich those up there. But that is it. Pretty quick and simple, easy job. I'm gonna go ahead and just install this real quick and show you guys the final look. If you guys are enjoying this build or any of the other builds that I've done, if you enjoy our videos, make sure you smash that subscribe button. That helps us out tremendously. Keeps my motivation up, keeps me going. That's like just something, it's not about getting paid from YouTube or anything like that, because guess what? I've been doing it for 1.5 years and I ain't been paid yet. So it's not about that. But man, just seeing that the channel growing, seeing that people are interested in the videos, things like that, it just keeps my motivation up to keep doing it and keep helping people and, you know, teaching what I've learned or what I've learned from messing up, things like that. So I really do appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully you smash that subscribe button.